get up from go to sleep at night.
Why?
That was like a thing to do.
He's like a god. The Queen's room, lab, it's a hall of mirrors. It's very our attraction. The hall of mirrors, the king and the queen's apartment.
A reserve, yeah.
No reserve. I must say the croissants here are very different than the ones
I liked it. Look, did you see the guy?
That's what I'm going to do.
What the life is like here. We have no idea, you know?
If you want.
Oh yeah, it's very...
I don't know whether it's typical.
This is Michelin's
yes, it's my
grandmother.
taste. The first time I've
Levi
arranged an apartment
Ben-Zion.
to my taste.
taste.
Yes.
These crackers are very good.
Do you like them?
Do they have cheese on them?
Cheese. Perfectly right.
Did you put that cheese on it or did it come?
No, I bought it. I must be frank, I bought it.
I think it'd be hard to put cheese on each one.
That
Rebecca,
would be odd.
Rebecca is in a chorus. She likes to sing.
Oh, you're in chorus.
Yeah.
So am I. This is the important part in my life. Singing.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would you recommend to someone who's 13 who loves to sing?
Who loves to sing?
She hasn't really taken formal lessons. She just learns in school.
I think she's
This
too
is
young to take singing
Michelin's
lessons.
mother,
I think she...
Renée, the young woman,
She's 16 or
Renée
17.
Lévy.
That's when you really start.
Renée, who married
But she
Sir
might
Maurice
belong to a choir.
Wechsler.
I use rice.
This is Michelin's
Not very
family
good.
at the wedding of Sylvain.
But you
And
like to sing.
Olivier is in the dark
She may
suit
go
in the
to
back
school
with
next year for
Then,
arts.
three of
like
his
it,
children,
and just to
Micheline and
give
her
you an
husband.
idea at the taste. With my glasses, I can't see.
This is a document written by
On va les
Michelin's,
manger ensuite.
Michelin's grandfather.
In Cairo.
Is this your grandfather, Moïse? Yeah. René Lévy Wechsler's father, written as a child to his parents. Vive mes chers parents. Quoique petit en âge, suis-je pourtant assez sage de vous dire avec mes sœurs, je vous aime de tout mon cœur. Moïse. It's written in 1877.
Okay. Could you...
So you see, sometimes when you make a gift, you don't.
If you tell us a bit about your father, generally, but
Generally,
also the war.
generally.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I knew that we remained in Paris because he said that it was the best place to hide during the war. And well, he was a respected man who was loved. He had no enemies, so he thought that nothing.
Be protected.
That he'd be protected, which was true in some ways, but not entirely true, because well, as you know, that Jewish people weren't entitled to work during the war, so he had been deprived of his right to be a doctor. And I remember perfectly well that one day he was called to one of his old patients because that person had been burnt, and very seriously burnt. And he said, well, I'm very sorry, but I have no right to go. And she insisted so much, or the husband insisted so much, that finally he said, well, I must go, I have to do it. And that woman was cured and denounced him to the police, and he was arrested. Because of that, well, they came to arrest him. Fortunately, he wasn't there. And my mother sent the three of us, well, the three girls, Suzanne, Paulette, and myself, to go to the metro station, where he might come. And so we went to 3 different metro stations, one to Terne, another one to Wagram, another one to Pereire, to wait for my father and prevent him from coming back home. And that was the way he was saved. I wasn't the lucky one to meet him. I don't remember which of the two met him. But so he didn't come back home.
Well, why
But you
would
see
they
what's
come back
happening.
and get him later?
Because, well, I don't know. I have no reason. I was too young to know that.
So where did he go from there? Where did he flee to?
Well, they didn't come back. They went once and didn't come back.
So where did your father came home again then?
He came home again. Well, when was it? The next day, or
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
They didn't come back then?
No, they didn't come back. They didn't come back.
And he stayed in Paris?
We stayed in Paris all the time. All the time after he, after the end of the real war, well, when he wasn't a soldier anymore. So we stayed in Paris all the time.
And the people around you knew you were all Jews?
Around us? No.
Nobody knew?
No. We had Jewish friends and non-Jewish friends.
It wasn't commonly known that somebody with that name would be Jews?
But of course it was known. We wore
That's what
You
he's...
wore the star.
Oh yes, I did.
You all did.
So everybody
But you weren't
knew.
arrested and taken.
No, we weren't arrested. They came to arrest my sister, Suzanne, my adopted sister.
Huh?
So they came to arrest her, and one day, and my mother was there, and I remember, well, because she told me more or less, because when I was too young to remember everything personally, and she discussed with the French policemen who had come, and tried to move them, telling them, well, showing them the decorations of my father, of my grandfather during the wars, that proving them that they had fought for France.
Loyal.
And that they had been loyal, yes. And they said that my sister wasn't French, because she was born in Poland. And my mother said, well, if you take her, you'll take me too. She won't go alone. So she went to the police station with Suzanne, and I don't know how it happened. Maybe because she knew one of the policemen. I don't know exactly what happened, but they were sent back free. I don't know how.
What tell us about Suzanne and her family and how she came to be in your house?
Oh, you don't know that?
No?
My father was a doctor, and the only activity he was allowed to keep was to be the doctor for l'UGIF. UGIF was the Union of French Union Française des Israélites de France. I don't remember exactly what it stands for. And so he took care of a house where the children of people who had been deported were kept. And one day they heard that those children might be deported as well. So what they did was to send all the children away in families in the country. And that was what happened to Suzanne, and also to her brother, because she had a brother. So they were dispatched in different families in the country, who were slightly paid for that, and they worked, they helped them, they were kind of servants in the houses. And what happened was that the place where Suzanne was, they wouldn't keep her for a few days because they had friends or they had relatives who came, so they sent her away.
In the street?
In the street. And so she didn't know where to go, so she went to that place, l'UGIF, to that place where my father had worked, but that place was closed because no child was there anymore. So my father went one day because he wanted to collect papers and not to leave anything. And well, just by chance, Suzanne was there. That's the place where she had come. And so he said, well, I can't leave her alone. So he brought her back home and for lunch.
And she stayed forever?
And she stayed forever.
How old was she?
She was 14. I remember perfectly well that my mother, she called us, my sister and I, not Bertrand, he was too young, and she asked us, well, what would you say if you had an extra sister? Would you accept her?
And how old were you and Paulette?
Oh, well,
At the time?
I was 6, and she was 8.
Oh, so this was a much bigger sister.
A much bigger sister, yes.
She was 14.
She was 14.
And we met her at the wedding. She
Yes.
was married to Mr. Cohen,
Yes.
Ambassador Cohen.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was her nom de famille?
Karpman,
Karpman?
yes.
K-A-R-P?
Karpmen.
Yeah.
And that was changed on her identity card into Karadec to make it sound a bit
Local.
local, not local really, from Brittany.
Brittany.
Because, well, in Brittany they had a lot of sounds about that,
Yeah.
of that type.
Did you lose some family during the war?
Yes, we did.
What kind of family? was it?
Not very close relatives, but Pierre's parents, Pierre Vidal-Naquet, both his parents were deported and
How are they related
never
to
came
you?
back.
How are they related to you?
Cousin.
How?
To me, exactly the same as you are.
So, he's your mother's first cousin?
Yes. No, his father was my mother's first cousin.
Excuse me, yes.
Yes,
So Pierre's parents were deported.
they were deported.
And were your grandparents alive during the war?
No. Yes, my father's parents were alive, and they spent the war with us, with Theodore de Banville.
Did they?
Oh yes, they did.
I didn't know that.
We didn't know that. Tante Renée was in Le Puy. She was in the
Pas Tante Renée.
my aunt Renée.
Yes.
She's my aunt.
Yes. We're
She
talking
was-
about your grandparents, though.
Hmm?
We're talking about your
My
grandparents.
grandparents are his.
Rose.
Yes. So her parents were with us,
Yes.
with my father and mother.
And Renée was out of
Yes, she
Paris.
wasn't with them.
Right.
She wasn't with them. She was in Zone Libre, in the free part of France.
She and Michel
And
went.
Michel.
What did they do with Nadine?
Nadine was very young and she was with them.
With
of
them.
course. She was with them.
So what did your family live off of during the war?
Oh, I know that my mother wrote envelopes. I don't know what for, but she was paid for 100 envelopes written, and I don't know what was the use of it. I don't really know. And well, probably that they had kept something from before the war. They had some money to live on for a short time, and I don't know really what they lived on.
I mean, the apartment was not theirs. They had
No,
to pay rent.
They had to pay rent.
It
I
must have
suppose
been
they sold-
significant.
They probably sold a lot of things.
That's what I'm thinking.
This is what I think.
Can you remember the time well, in your memory, as a child? Can you remember the whole occupation?
Yes.
The Germans?
I
the whole
remember
thing?
nothing before the war. It was quite a shock. So I think my memories start on the day of the war.
Really? Bombing? The invasion?
Not bombing, when my father left as a soldier.
Oh, he went to
Yes.
fight.
Yes. So this is my first real memory.
How long was he gone?
But that was very short.
Short war.
That was a very short war. I think about 8 months or...
Yeah. Do you think about that time often now? Does your mind wander back
Yes.
to that whole period?
And especially now. I kind of put it in the bottom of my memory for a while, and that's only now that I can do it.
What do you think has happened that it comes to you now?
I think they stole my childhood. I have no childhood. Excuse me?
Yeah?
Do you think it changed the whole family dynamics in some serious way?
Completely.
How is that?
Completely, because when Tante Renée, when she speaks of her brother, my father, she always tells me how gay he was, how spontaneous, how cheerful before the war, but I have no remembrance. He was very different, very nervous during the war.
How about your mother?
The same.
And you think that after the war they never
Recovered.
recovered?
Never.
So I can see how you were robbed of your parents. The parents that you would have had, the way they were, was changed. You lost them.
Well, I never knew them as they should have been, really.
Right.
And they might have been.
As they might have been.
Might have been. Well, my mother discovered that she was Jewish. Well, she knew it, of course. She knew it
As a fact.
as a fact. But, well, she was French and from Jewish extraction.
Right.
But she became Jewish because of the war. That's the collection of Jewish books, for example. They started it after the war. I think they would never have had it otherwise. They wouldn't have known. They were French, and they weren't believers. So
Right.
You know, there's a question I want to ask you.
Yes.
My father, in his generation, was the only one to marry quite late in life. He married at 47, and he married in America, and he married a non-Jewish woman,
Yes.
which surprised all of his cousins,
Mm-hmm.
who would, although they were not croyants, believers,
Mm-hmm.
all married within the group.
Yes, this is right.
And yet, in the next generation, none of the children in the French family married Jews. And in my father and Pauline's side, until Philip remarried, I was the only one who married a Jew, which was ironic.
Yes.
Um,
In a sense, it was.
Well, I also decided to convert. Do you think that this is a national thing among French Jews, or do you have something to say about it that's related to your particular family, that the three of
No,
you all married
it's more or
non-Jews?
less general. I would very much like to explain it. I think it is not just chance that it happens so frequently, because what you say is perfectly right. I think that for some of them, or some of us, we just wanted to forget. We wanted to have a normal life as we hadn't had a normal childhood. We wanted the rest of our life to be normal. We wanted to forget.
Did it work?
More or less, yes. For us, or for me, it did work. It worked for me, it didn't work for the others.
Tell me why.
Because, well, I believe that personally, well, I am a human being. This is number one. And for me, all human beings are alike, are similar, are friends. And this is quite important for me. Well, I was very, very young at the end of the war, and I remember that one of the first things I wanted to do, and I was refused because I was too young, was to meet, I've forgotten his name, who organized the Citoyens du Monde.
You mean Callegri? Callegri? No.
I've forgotten his name really.
Yeah.
And I went to meet him, and he told me, "But you're too young. Come and see me back when you're 18, when you're 15. I don't know what he told me. Well, I was much too young, but that was my idea. My idea was Citoyens du Monde. This is the reason why I couldn't accept the idea that we had been persecuted because of a different origin, different creed. I couldn't accept that idea, but I wouldn't like to accept it for others either. Well, I mean that I made it kind of point of honor to have a German friend, and a German friend who was not well accepted in my family because he was German, but I thought, well, she was 4 at the end of the war, and she isn't responsible. She isn't responsible for anything. So I have to be fair if I want, because, well, the creed was during the war that we were persecuted because our ancestors had crucified the Christ. That was what was said in schools, the reason for the persecution of Jewish people. And so, well, I felt, well, they may have crucified the Christ, and I didn't know who Christ was, of course, I was too. And, but I've done nothing.
So it worked for you. Why do you think it didn't work for your brother and sister?
That it didn't work? I don't know. I never. Well,
You said you think it worked for you, but not for them.
for other people, I don't know. For my brother and sister, that was kind of conversation I couldn't have with them. Prescribed.
Prescribed, yeah. So you felt would you say, if I can ask you, was it a conscious choice to marry
No,
unconscious?
no, unconscious.
You would just marry the person you
Unconscious.
love,
That's it.
whether Jew or not Jew?
That's it. I wouldn't make any difference. And I said, well, provided they don't make any difference, I'm not the one who is going to make any difference.
Mhm.
But
Is
I
it-
discovered
So you married
later,
you married a Frenchman?
I married a Frenchman.
Can I ask you a question?
Wait, like she was about to say something. I discovered later.
Well, I discovered later that though my two husbands, didn't make any difference, they still made one.
How's that?
Well, because sometimes they happen to say, when speaking of some problems, you instead of saying they. So I discovered that what Sartre said is very true, that you're Jewish, being Jewish is not your own will,
Mhm.
it is the way that other people look at you.
Mhm.
And that whatever you do, whether you belong to the community, whether you believe or you don't believe, you're going to remain one till the end of your life. This is something I have discovered, that it wasn't just the attitude of German people during the war, that it is the general attitude of people around the world.
Let me share something my father said to me at age 79. He now had two granddaughters who were Sarah and Rachel, and he had a daughter who spoke Hebrew, and his granddaughters spoke Hebrew. He said, I always thought of myself first as a Frenchman, etc., but I think now I've understood something. I think I'm first a Jew. This was an extraordinary statement from him.
Mm-hmm.
And this was not because of how other people saw him. This was a different kind of approach or discovery. Had to do with some kind of, I don't know what, but it was clear that it had something to do with me and his granddaughters, the larger world. It was to me it was a gift for him to be able to say something like this, so that I felt that there was, although he was a completely atheistic
Right, he raised
person.
You without any identification with being Jewish.
Mhm.
Right. In fact,
The
he
same as
wished
my father did.
his wish was for no identification with Judaism. That it was
That
not
was his
something.
wish. I didn't know that.
Oh yes, he was not comfortable with it.
But I still am not very comfortable with it.
Do you know what the discomfort's about?
But she doesn't own any of it because it's
wasn't
it's a
part of-
label put onto her. Rather than
it
some-
wasn't part of your upbringing.
It wasn't
So for
part of my
someone to say to
upbringing.
you you're Jewish,
It's something that
doesn't-
has been imposed on me from the
The outside.
outside without my
acceptance.
without
Or-
my decision.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
This is
Well,
what
you know, in the world of Jews and in the world of anti-Semites, your sons are Jews.
I know that. I
Mm.
know that. One of them knows it very well. The other rejects it
Mm.
completely.
Which,
Olivier rejects it. And Sylvain, on the contrary, he accepts it completely.
it interests him.
Yeah, it is interesting. It is interesting. Because, when the divorce occurred, Olivier took the side of his father and Sylvain mine.
How old were they?
They were, let me see, 18 and 13.
I know that Patrice was visiting us in the United States in around December, and he was surprised that there was no festivities for Christmas, no Christmas trees in anybody's house. And although Pauline is not a croyante either, she doesn't have Christmas trees in her house. And I remember him noting, he took it elegantly, but I remember him noting that there was nothing going on in any of the houses. And he, I think, took note of that.
Mm.
Well, but I must say that here in France it seems a bit queer, because, well, I have friends who are very religious.
Juif.
Yes.
Mhm.
And they still have Christmas as a tradition for their children. Christmas is the tree, Christmas represents the gifts, and nothing else.
And the Santa Claus, maybe a little.
Santa Claus.
I don't think they have Santa Claus in France.
Yes, Père Noël,
Ah, Père Noël.
Santa Claus, that's it.
Well,
Like a big red guy.
Yes, that's him.
you,
I had that for my children. This is Père Noël. And of course, well, I wouldn't have a Christmas without a tree. I wouldn't.
well, you had one as you grew up,
Yes.
right? But that would not be considered. You see,
It's,
like
not considered as a Christian symbol.
yes, but in a
Not
real,
at all.
in a truly observant Jewish home, there would not be. When you say very religious, it's very religious in comparison to you.
By religious, we would think you mean
I
that they
think
observe the
that
Sabbath and they're kosher
Yes.
and all these things, yes? And they still have a
yes,
tree.
Yes.
So
And they
it's a
go to
cultural
synagogue.
piece. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So it's a cultural
Yes.
identification.
And
Uh-huh.
she has two sons, that friend of mine, she has two sons. And, well, they had their bar mitzvahs and so on. And they, even when they were there, when the bomb exploded, they were about my son's age. And that's about 10 years ago.
At the synagogue?
At
With-
the synagogue in Paris, yes.
Listen, we want to go to synagogue on Saturday. There's I was trying to get to an interesting synagogue. I don't know. Do you know of anyone that there's nine of them in the 9e
You can
arrondissement.
ask August, you can ask August, she'll know. Marilyn will know.
Well, I'm
Pauline was married in a synagogue that was near you, but I thought it was on the rue Notre-Dame de la Lorette.
Rue Notre-Dame de Lorette.
But I don't see a synagogue on that street.
You might look in my plan. They would tell you. I know there is one where Suzanne was married, which is Rue Copernic.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, we know that. We know that.
So, is there something else you'd like to tell us today about your father and your mother and the war?
And the war.
I would like to hear about your life a little bit, what your interests are, having gone through all those experiences. What became of you and what you did with your life so far?
Oh,
To
not
make
much.
it, to make, well,
Not much, really.
to make it also how all the sadness that you went through as a child, you still created a full life for yourself.
Yes, I did, because, well, I think that the force of life is very strong in people. And, well, I was very young at the end of the war, as I told you, and, well, life just started, in a way. It started, but I still feel that I was marked, in a way. This is something I could never react as an ordinary little girl.
Mm.
I think it gave me the will to belong to a group. Because during the war I was rejected. The fact of not being allowed to do so many things, not being allowed, for example, to go in a park as other children did.
You wore the yellow star
Oh,
all
yes,
the
I did.
time.
All the time, all the time. And it had to be very well sewn on your garments, and you were only entitled to have two. And you had to pay for them and give points for them. And so when I was warm and I had a sweater on, couldn't take it off
Because the star was on.
because the star was on and it wasn't on the dress. And on the contrary, when I was cold, I couldn't put something on because there was no star on it.
Oh,
And the star was always present, but it had become a habit in a way.
you know, that's the detail of that anecdote brings home the not only the annoyance but the whole infiltrated awfulness of it.
And I remember that I had to answer it and just sew it very quickly when I decided to change that. Because my mother couldn't do it for the whole family.
If you wanted to change
So we
a
were
shirt,
To
responsible
change
for
your
us.
shirt, you had
We were responsible for
yeah,
us.
2 stars.
Two
That's it.
stars. I've got one. in
You
my
still
drawer.
have one. How
Yes.
can you take it out?
Oh
And
yes.
show it to me?
Oh, just see it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm. Terrible thing,
It was.
yeah.
It really was, because I went to school in a school where there were nice people, and they helped us, because that was a private school, and they accepted that my parents wouldn't pay for us, because it was a very expensive school.
Why were you in a private school?
Because they didn't want to send us to state schools
That could
because
be
of the
dangerous.
education.
Not dangerous, it could have been okay, it wasn't dangerous for you to go there.
It might have been
Might
more
have been.
dangerous too. So I don't know. We went to a private school.
Do you still have
Which
private schools in Paris?
Oh yes,
I didn't realize that.
which was a Catholic school. I perfectly remember. And I wasn't the only Jewish girl in my class, in my form. And when we arrived, we took off.
Star.
Yes. And when they had, when we had to go out, we were exactly like the others. So that was a responsibility for them, because, well, they might have been deported for that.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So that was a comfortable time, you could feel when you went to school that you were safe in a way,
That I was
that you
safe.
could shed your,
But
you could shed it.
from another point of view, as it was a Catholic school, and, well, religion was very important during the war. You had to prove that you were a Catholic or Protestant. You had to prove it. And so there was religious education. And I remember that we studied the Bible, and I was the first.
Oh,
Hmm.
And when we had worked well, we were given a cross that we wore with a ribbon,
It's like opposite, kind of,
Yeah,
what you had to
a
wear.
reward. Yes, that was
that's
a
an interesting
reward.
point.
yeah. it's
So
the
So
the
the re-
reward was their symbol on the shirt when, you know, you're not reward, what you had to do was wear your symbol.
That's right. That's a very good point.
Mhm.
How could you not have a terrible sense of what Jewish meant? My mother wanted to call me Sarah. My father would have none of it because it was the name that had been forced on Jewish women in their passports. Sarah. So it was a stigmatized name. It was too Jewish, whereas my mother was not coming from a Jewish point of view with that
Mhm.
name. It's a common enough American name, Protestant American name.
Yes.
So I didn't know this story until after I'd named my daughter Sarah. And he didn't tell it to me, my mother did. And I realized how much of this was part of his soul that I didn't know about.
What do you think it's like today for the Jews in France? Do you feel that there's still a sense of being different? Can you
There is a
generalize?
sense of being, yes, there is a sense of being different, but the young generation is very different. The young generation, they're very proud of it.
They're going to show you.
Yes.
We are Jewish.
Yes.
It's kind of hip to be Jewish in a way, yes?
Yes, in a way.
Because the Jewish Quarter, Le Marais, people want to go see it, right? Or they want to go see the museum.
Yes, they do.
I think it's like what happened in the 60s in New York and America. It became hip to be Jewish.
That's what I'm asking.
60s, late 60s,
It doesn't
70s.
mean Jewish as religious,
Jewish
but
is-
Jewish as culture.
Jesus' culture,
Culture.
yes, yes,
The music.
yes. But if you ask me the consequences of my everyday life, because there is one consequence, is that, and a consequence shared by my Jewish friends, is that we feel completely at ease and relaxed when we're together. We know that there's not going to be any problem. And it's the only time when we know that there's going to be no problem at all. That's when we are between us.
Yes.
We are more relaxed, more confident, more.
But you know what? That's the same thing for us.
That it's the
Yes.
same for you.
Yeah.
Yes. For example, evoking those remembrances, this is something I cannot do with anybody else.
How about with the family?
Not with the family either. Not
Would
even
you
with my
descri-
husband, not even with my sons.
Can't.
What?
Yeah,
But
I can't
I mean the people
speak
that
of
you
it.
went through it with. Could you have done it with your mother?
With my mother, yes, but too much.
Too much.
Too much. Because that was her only conversation at the end of her
Oh.
life. Well, so really it had become such a problem for her, and she was afraid that things might happen again, and well, she was very, very anxious, and she only read Jewish books, and that was her only interest in life, really.
Do you think she had any regrets of not having
I don't
inculcated her own children in more of a sense of identity?
I don't know. Really, I don't.
Do you want to hold up the...
This was Michelin's,
No,
no?
from the family, she said.
I don't
Somebody
know
in the
whether it was
family.
mine or another member of the families, I don't know. But my mother...
As you can see, I'm in Versailles, and I'm on a terrace, I think it's called.
Un balcon.
A balcony. Looking down here, you can come and look with me.
Whose house are you in?
I'm in Michelin's house. Or actually outside of her house. There are many balconies in France, especially in Paris so far that I've seen. And they're very beautiful. Sometimes the designs can be extremely intricate.
A lot of lanterns everywhere too. Go ahead, tell me who we're looking at.
My grandfather, my great-grandmother, great-grandfather,
I thought this was...
were their parents.
And the
his
names?
That should be Marc Levy, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
And she was called...
We were having trouble last time
I
too.
don't remember. On top, it's my mother in
Wait.
her mother's arms.
This is Paulette, Micheline and Paulette.
Mhm.
And this is who?
My grandmother,
And?
and I don't know whether it's her son or her daughter.
So
They were dressed the same way.
this is your mother's mother?
My mother's mother, yes. And on the right, it's my mother when she was a little girl with her brother.
How far are we from the castle, from where we're going?
10 minutes.
And how late is it open?
Till 6.
Oh, good. Are we going, what did,
The husband of that one.
Your mother's father?
My mother's father, yes.
And here?
And here, the same as here,
I see. Okay. And here?
2 cousins. I like the photo itself.
Yes.
I think it makes
Two
me
cousins
think
are-
of Proust.
No cousins on your father's side, I would say,
Yes.
no? Oui?
Mhm. Now, look, this is my other grandfather, Georges.
This is Georges,
Yes.
who is married to Rose.
Mm-hmm.
kept getting prizes?
Okay. I'm trying to focusing, yeah? And who's the baby here?
Prizes.
My mother.
Well, you became
Oh.
valuable.
René Lévy,
The pioneers, this is not a first.
Weissman Wexler.
That's it.
And that's your son and his wife.
Yes. Valentin.
And one of the grandchildren, Valentin. This is the Chateau de Versailles. We're approaching it from the bus stop. I didn't ask them.
Kasia would know the reason.
They made the food so fabulous. They came on a day to take the picture when they were like a million people time.
See, now if you stood here and ate falafel, it would be only 22 cents.
We should have done that.
Because forget, you're sitting there, you're taking up a table, and wait for someone to serve you, the grocery stores. This area, they did concert and things.
She was here yesterday. She's a singer.
Oh, okay.
So,
Most of their music is in English.
yeah. There's an MIT website. They have every single radio station in the world, or 9,000 or something. And I was listening to French radio stations, and they were all in English.
My favorite is the jazz station here in Paris, and all the songs are in English. They usually want it to stay fresh.
He says, Guyane.
Rats with wings. Not crazy about pigeons.
Are they rats and things?
Some people refer to them as that.
Mais pas en même temps. Voilà.
Cher maître,
Pas mètre, centimètre. Vous avez compris, ça c'est comme ça, das Leben geht weiter.
Oui.
Ihr redet Jiddisch?
Meine Eltern kamen aus Deutschland. My parents left Germany in the 30s.
Aber you speak German?
Ja.
Today? Heute sprechen Sie ein bisschen Deutsch?
Ja, ja, ja.
Ein wenig.
Ein wenig. Weil
Aber
ich
nicht
habe-
viel.
Nicht viel.
Ach so.
Die Bücher sind auf Deutsch. Also
Ja.
ich verkaufe und
Ja.
kaufe jüdische Bücher auf Deutsch.
Jiddische Bücher.
Auf Deutsch.
Das ist auch Jiddisch hier.
Nicht Jiddisch. Jüdisch. Auf Deutsch. Von Mendelssohn, von Rosenzweig, Hermann Cohen.
C'est un fouillis!
Oui, oui, c'est fouillé.
il est là,
Oh.
il est français.
Américain.
Américaine, elle a appris comme ça.
Non, c'est ma première langue.
Ah, c'est votre première langue quand même.
Mais mon père était français.
Ouais.
Oh! Alors,
You see, look, this one, you know him here.
You're from Boston?
No, from Massachusetts, but
This one.
Western.
This one?
Ken, look at me.
Monsieur Lieberman, look up. He wants to take your picture.
Monsieur Lieberman.
Attendez, attendez, 2 secondes, 2 secondes.
Well, we're only going to Paris, and yesterday we went to Versailles.
Oh, he has a Jewish, look what he has up there. That's what he wants for. How am I going to ship it out of here?
What?
Jewish lexicon.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Storm.
Atmosphérique.
Yeah. So, Mark.
I like Paris. So.
Voilà,
Uh-huh.
der ist gestorben in die Lager.
Yeah?
Have you ever been
D'où venez-vous,
to,
monsieur Lieberman?
States?
Oui.
D'où venez-vous?
Ah, d'accord, oui.
D'où est-ce que vous venez?
Regardez, ça c'est le grand-père qui était né.
Et vous avez ce magasin depuis combien de temps?
Bah ici, on n'est pas là depuis longtemps, on est là, écoutez bien.
Votre
Le
ami,
jour de-
sa mère, son restaurant, c'était chez Marianne?
Brooklyn?
Il travaillait là.
Ah, c'est pas vrai. Je pensais que vous avez des facilités à
My
comprendre.
father used to live
Je
there.
vous dis que Marianne, il est là depuis 10 ans.
Oui,
Mais avant-guerre, c'était sa mère
ah
qui
oui,
avait
j'ai compris.
l'épicerie, Madame
L'épicerie.
Goldstein.
Oui.
Et la veille du 16 juillet 42,
Oui.
l'arabe du Veldiv, c'était ouvert chez eux.
Oui.
La veille, ici aussi,
Oui, oui.
c'était ouvert. Et la veille, il y a un copain qui est venu et qui leur a dit demain, il y aura une grande rafle, n'ouvrez à personne.
Oui.
Et ils sont restés cachés dedans.
Et vous aussi?
Moi, j'étais pas là, mais ma mère était là. Et quand ils sont... Tiens, voilà Madame Schleps, là, elle est là.
connais pas.
Regardez, c'est Madame Schleps, vous pouvez la filmer. Hein. C'est elle qui vous a donné mon adresse.
C'était votre cousin vivait à Waterloo.
Je vais pas vous le dire.
Oui. Alors racontez-moi sur
Non,
la rafle.
non, attendez, parce que là, c'est...
So he brought it, c'était Waterford, Connecticut.
From Palestine. You know,
Are these books for sale?
not
Mais c'est,
he has many books of
non,
the...
pas à côté, c'est un
You
côté
see
qui
someone
reste
here?
En deux?
Ben, nous habitions, vous avez vu le restaurant là?
Oui.
Chez Marianne,
Oui.
c'était une épicerie.
Oui.
You know what is an épicerie?
Oui, je sais.
Et nous habitions au-dessus. Et le 16, dans la journée, il est passé c'était un communiste, un juif communiste que nous connaissions dans le quartier, qui est venu nous dire qu'il y avait, le lendemain matin, il y aurait une rafle. Que
Oui.
ce ne serait pas les Allemands, ce serait la police française qui viendrait arrêter les juifs. On ne voulait pas tellement le croire, mais il nous a dit, écoutez, faites très attention. Si vous ne pouvez pas vous cacher quelque part, ne bougez pas, faites le mort, c'est-à-dire restez dans les appartements, mais ne faites rien. Vous voyez, si on frappe à la porte, ils ne défonceront pas les portes. Ils savaient qu'ils ne défonceront pas les portes. Et ça s'est passé comme ça. Alors ma mère a envoyé ma sœur aînée dire à mon père qui travaillait dans un autre arrondissement qui reste caché là-bas, avec mon frère aîné. Et nous, ma mère, ma sœur, mon petit frère et moi, nous sommes restés au-dessus du magasin là.
Oui. Et lui, sa famille, ils sont restés là.
Et eux, ils étaient là. Et ils sont venus, à 4 h du matin, on a commencé à entendre des cris, vous savez,
Les autres familles.
Des autres familles, parce que, vous savez, vous voyez la rue des Rosiers, on est juste à côté, et les gens ont ouvert. Et il y avait des autobus qui venaient, des vieux autobus français, là, des autobus, et puis on mettait les juifs dedans, la police les mettait dedans au fur et à mesure avec des petits paquets. Et moi, j'étais gosse, je voulais aussi aller, parce que j'ai vu mes copains qui...
Oh ben dis donc.
Alors ma mère, elle dit, si tu bouges, elle nous a sauvé la vie comme ça. Alors elle nous avait préparé à chacun une petite valise avec quelques vêtements, parce qu'on ne savait pas si vraiment ils ne vont pas défoncer. Et dans les épaulettes, elle ne nous avait pas mis de l'argent, elle nous avait mis des adresses en Amérique de cousins, de familles, vous savez, au cas où nous sommes séparés.
Ayez de Chekov.
À Yeshekov. Ma mère nous a sauvé la vie. Une femme, une épicière, mais elle nous a sauvé la vie. Et on est resté comme ça a duré 5 jours. Et quand on a commencé à voir plus de police et des juifs sortir un petit peu parce que, vous savez, les Allemands étaient très vicieux, ils ne prenaient pas les juifs roumains ni les juifs hongrois parce que c'était des alliés, la Hongrie et la Roumanie étaient alliés. Alors, ils les ont pris par la suite, mais là, alors, plusieurs magasins juifs étaient ouverts puisque c'était des Roumains, on ne les a pas touchés. Et quand ils ont vu, alors le 5e jour, ma mère quand même, elle dit je vais quand même aller voir. Elle voyait déjà des juifs qui sortaient dans la rue. Elle est descendue, elle a vu la boulangère juste en face. Ça s'appelait Birman à l'époque. Et elle dit Madame Goldstein, qu'est-ce que vous faites là? Alors elle lui a raconté, elle dit il faut partir,
Et vous avez quitté la ville?
Et on a quitté la ville.
Où est-ce que vous êtes allé?
On a été en zone libre parce que vous savez la France était coupée en deux. Alors avec des renseignements.
Dans quel village?
Nous étions à côté de Cahors.
Ah, comment?
Cahors, c'est dans le Lot.
Comment on appelle ça?
Je vais vous dire, c'est toute une histoire. Vous savez, je ne vais pas vous raconter l'histoire, mais quand on était déjà en zone libre, on a pris un train, et Madame Birman, la boulangère, nous avait dit son mari est à Pau. Vous savez, il y a une ville, Pau. Alors ma mère lui disait, donnez-moi une adresse. Elle dit, non, vous irez à Pau, vous demanderez Monsieur Birman, on vous dira. Nous, on croyait que Pau, c'était un village. Enfin, bon, on a pris le train, et il n'y avait pas beaucoup de monde. Et puis, à un moment donné, il y a un type qui est rentré dans le wagon. Ma mère a tout de suite eu peur, parce qu'elle ne parlait pas français, ma mère. Elle parlait que le yiddish et un petit peu le français, oui.
Et elle venait d'où, votre mère?
De Pologne.
Ah, de Pologne.
Ici, on parlait que yiddish dans le quartier. Polonais ou yiddish, vous savez. Alors, bon, on a eu peur, et puis ma sœur est sortie dans le compartiment, marcher vous savez, dans l'allée du train, et le bonhomme s'est levé et l'a suivi. Alors ma mère, ça y est, c'est un rapper, vous savez, un inspecteur, et puis c'était un juif. Alors il s'est approché de ma soeur, il dit, n'ayez pas peur, moi je suis juif. Où est-ce que vous allez? On lui a dit, on va à Toulouse, et de Toulouse on va à Pau. Il dit, si vous allez à Toulouse, vous ne passerez pas, il y a des rafles, vous ne sortirez pas de la gare. Moi je descends avant, venez avec moi. Et lui s'arrêtait à Cahors, il dit, moi je connais tout le monde à Cahors, je vous trouverai un logement.
Cahors, ça s'appelle comment?
C-A-H-O-R-S. Et c'est dans le Lot, le département du Lot. Et on l'a écouté, ma mère, il s'est mis à parler yiddish avec nous, bon. Et on est descendu, et il était quand même gonflé parce que à 3h du matin, je me rappelle, on est arrivé, il nous a amenés chez sa femme, qui avait 3 gosses. Comme, vous savez, ramener une femme avec 3 gosses, et bon, ils nous ont reçus, puis on s'est resté. C'est lui qui nous a trouvé une maison, on s'est caché là-bas.
Pendant combien de temps?
Alors, ils sont restés jusqu'à la libération.
Et quand vous êtes revenus, qu'est-ce que vous avez trouvé?
Il n'y avait rien.
Ils
Ils avaient tout cassé, ils avaient tout vidé, tout.
Et qui c'est qui a vidé? Les voisins?
Les voisins, les Français, les bons Français.
Les bons Français.
C'était toute une époque. Enfin, je vous raconte, c'était une épopée. Mais ma mère nous a sauvés. Le 16 juillet, c'est elle qui nous a sauvés. Sinon, on serait descendus, nous.
Ma famille, mon père a quitté Paris en 1937. Mais le reste de ma famille est resté là. Ils étaient tous médecins. Et sauf un couple qui est allé en zone libre, ils sont tous restés ici. Ils sont tous restés dans leurs appartements et ils ont tous survécu.
Ça, c'est de la chance. Non, s'ils étaient dans un...
Il manquait une rafle.
Il manquait une rafle.
Et il a manqué une rafle.
Mais ils avaient peut-être un nom francisé ou...
Non, Wexler.
Ah, Wexler, oui.
Avec CHS.
Ah ouais, oui, d'accord.
Wexler,
Je connaissais un Wexler, justement des Hongrois, des voisins.
Non, ils étaient d'origine russe, mes parents, et ma famille.
Je vais vous dire, il y a tellement de chance. Vous savez, mon père est resté avec mon frère ici. Ils travaillaient dans le meuble, ils étaient rue de Montreuil. Et bon, ils sont restés, nous on est partis, on leur a fait savoir qu'on partait, et puis on leur dit, vous viendrez nous rejoindre après. Et bon, ils sont restés quelques jours dans cette usine où ils travaillaient. Puis un jour, mon père a dit, on va aller prendre une douche. Il n'y avait pas de douche dans cette usine. Alors dehors, il y avait, vous savez, des douches municipales. Il est sorti avec mon frère, ils ont pris une bonne douche. Et puis quand ils sont sortis, il y avait une rafle. La rue était coupée en deux par les gendarmes, les flics là, et puis ils demandaient les papiers à tout le monde, tous ceux qui passaient. Et mon père a dit, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Parce que bon, ils parlaient en yiddish. Et puis bon, forcément ils étaient en bleu de travail puisqu'ils travaillaient dans le meuble. Ils sont passés et on leur a rien demandé. Ils avaient l'air d'ouvriers, vous savez, ils sont passés tous les deux. Voilà. Regardez à quoi ça tient.
À rien du tout.
À rien du tout. Ouais.
Alors quand vous êtes revenu, tu étais toujours gosse. Dans quel travail, quel est votre travail?
Moi j'étais apprenti bijoutier. Ah ouais, joaillier.
Et vous avez fait ça toute votre vie?
Non, j'ai pas fait ça. J'ai fait ça, puis après, j'ai fait ça jusqu'à mon CAP, vous savez, le certificat d'aptitude.
Oui.
Et puis après, je suis parti en Israël, à l'armée.
Ah oui?
Oui, j'ai fait 2 ans, presque 2 ans là-bas.
Oui.
Comme j'avais ma famille ici, moi je voulais rester, mais enfin ma famille m'a fait revenir. Je suis revenu, j'ai connu ma femme, je suis rentré, puis ma femme, ils étaient dans le tissu, vous savez, dans les tissus.
Famille juive?
Hein, des juifs, bien sûr. Eux, ils étaient des juifs roumains. Et je suis rentré dans la famille et je suis resté dans le tissu.
Dans le tissu.
Dans le tissu.
Et vos enfants?
Et mon fils, j'ai un fils qui est comédien.
Qui est comédien.
Il aime ça, il est comédien.
Et il réussit?
Très difficile. Très difficile. C'est un très beau garçon, mais c'est dur. Bon, il a des petits machins. Il joue une pièce de temps en temps. Il joue un petit rôle dans un film. Vous savez, bon, il se débrouille. Et puis,
Il a quel
sa
âge?
femme qui est comédienne aussi.
Ils ont quel âge?
Il a une quarantaine passée, 43 ans. Ils ont une petite fille. Voilà. Ça, c'est mon bonheur.
Des
C'est
kabbalistes.
Voilà.
Ouais. Il a épousé une juive?
Oui, non, pas une juive.
Et la petite
Mais
est
elle est
élevée
très-
en juif?
Hein?
Ils élèvent l'enfant comme juif?
Bah, vous savez, elle dit 50-50, vous comprenez, la petite. Elle-même, elle comprend, elle a déjà 8 ans, vous savez. Elle dit, je suis moitié-moitié. Elle dit, bon. Mais elle sait, moi, nous, on fait les fêtes de Hanouka, on fait les fêtes de Pessah et tout ça. Bon, alors, comme je suis pas très religieux, mais bon, rien que pour ça, comme ça, elle voit comment ça se passe. Voilà. Quand c'est Yom Kippour, Rosh Hashanah, je l'emmène à la synagogue. Elle voit.
C'est plus que mes grands-parents ont fait pour mon père.
Ah bon,
Et il
parce
savait encore moins, lui.
Bah oui, non, parce que je vais vous dire, il y avait des couples de juifs des deux côtés, qui ne faisaient rien,
Oui,
qui
c'était
seraient
ma
très
famille,
assimilés.
ça.
Voilà. Vous savez, nous, on a, dans la famille à ma femme, il y en a qui s'appelaient, je ne sais pas, Borenstein, ou je ne sais pas, à la fin, pendant la guerre, ils s'appelaient Bartin. Et ils sont restés Bartin après la guerre. Snobs, vous savez, riches, ils étaient à Neuilly, et ils sont restés Bartin. Et il se trouve que le petit, et pas religieux du tout, vous savez, juif, mais assimilé à 100%, et il se trouve que le petit-fils, il s'est marié maintenant avec la fille la sœur d'un rabbin, et il revient caché.
C'est ce qui m'est passé à moi.
Voilà, ça, voilà. On a été au mariage, et les grands-parents nous disent, on peut pas manger il veut pas manger chez nous, parce que c'est pas assez cachère, c'est pas assez... Voilà, c'est pour vous dire que des fois, si ma petite fille, si Dieu veut, elle se remarie avec un juif,
Il faut continuer de faire vos fêtes, c'est tout. Faites les fêtes,
c'est
c'est
ce qu'on
tout.
fait, voilà.
It's been written up a lot, right?
Written up a lot, he says.
He's the only Jewish book dealer in town, really. You.
In French,
You.
only.
Oui?
Like you can sing it, only one.
This is from the year
אחד
5702.
ולא אחר.
So 58 years old.
Mitsuyan.
It's
Hein?
red
Excellent.
Bordeaux
Mitsuya.
silk embroidered onto a golden green brocade.
Mais elle s'appelle
Pauline Trigère.
Alors j'ai dit à votre mari que j'ai connu un Krieger qui est mort il y a très longtemps et qui habitait le quartier. Mais il est mort il y a au moins 40 ans.
Mon grand-père était Alexandre Trigère et il n'avait pas de barbe.
Ah oui, alors c'est pas le même, mais il y en a
Non.
un, là, je me rappelle.
Il était tailleur.
Oui. Il était tailleur,
elle,
mais
c'était dans
il
la
n'était
haute
pas cher quand même. Tailleur. Tailleur, but not expensive.
Non, il était Trigère, pas très cher.
elle
All these,
c'était une griffe.
Oui.
Oui,
Ouais.
d'autres coutures. Alors vous me racontez, le 16
Oui.
Le 16 juillet,
Le 16, donc alors quand les flics rentrent ici, Madame Lieberman, elle fait oui, prenez une valise et suivez-nous. Alors elle leur dit comment? Ce sont des Français que j'ai dans les yeux, moi qui ai mon fils qui a fait son devoir pour la France et qui est prisonnier de guerre, mais vous avez sûrement une mère. Alors ils ont entendu ça les a émus, et ils ont dit préparez-vous, on revient vous chercher.
ah, c'est pour vous aider à...
Bah oui, alors ça c'est des gens, moi je les ai embrassés, hein, comme on en parle souvent avec Madame Schnepp, parce qu'elle est très très touchée par ce drame énorme. On n'en parlera jamais assez, mais on peut rien apporter de plus. Malheureusement, ils sont tous partis. Hein,
Mais
enfumés.
vous avez dit votre grand-père était...
Ben, le grand-père, il est mort à l'hôpital Rothschild par la suite.
Mais il était en haut.
Il était malade, il était en haut, là, oui.
Alors vous avez tous disparu. Vous avez quitté la ville?
On l'a pas prise, elle est venue à Lyon où j'étais
German, French.
pendant la guerre. Moi j'ai un parcours différent. moi.
Et le grand-père, elle l'a pris le grand-père avec
Non,
elle?
le grand-père, il était malade d'estomac et il a été hospitalisé à l'hôpital Rothschild et il est mort à l'hôpital.
Alors, tout le bâtiment, c'était à la famille, c'est à vous?
Non, il n'y a rien à la famille là.
This was a
Non.
restaurant.
Non.
Racontez-lui du restaurant.
Et non, mais
Vous voyez,
avant
il y a
ici,
encore
c'était
le cordon rouge là pour monter en haut.
c'était le restaurant Flambaume
Voilà.
avant.
Ah,
Avant.
Un des premiers restaurants
Ouais, c'est
juifs
ça.
de...
Les-
oui,
les-
ça c'était Flambeau?
Ouais, oui.
Alors, ma tante m'a dit,
Mais oui.
Voilà.
take out your green book, parce qu'elle m'a dit, voilà les choses que tu dois aller voir.
Oui.
Et elle a dit, Flambaume, c'est
Ah oui,
là
mais
où on
il
allait
n'existe
manger.
plus.
Alors,
oui,
je veux lui
c'est
dire
en
ça.
haut. C'est en haut. Vous voulez voir avec les
Flambeau
miroirs.
restaurant.
Non, mais- non, mais
Here it
là,
is.
mieux
Yeah, yeah, Flambeau.
Donnez-moi mon numéro de téléphone. Vous vous en
That's
souvenez?
good. The last thing.
Vous le donnez à madame.
Voilà, à côté, elle m'a dit, va à Flambaume, le restaurant, sur la rue du Temple.
Voilà.
Ah,
Non, pas la
jamais
rue
de la
du
vie.
Temple.
Il
Non,
est
non.
Flambaume, il était.
Ah, bah, elle était
Près de
où
la
du-
rue vieille du Temple, elle s'est trompée.
Ah, bon, et elle a
Vieille
dit,
du
c'était
Temple.
où, du Temple ou Archive? Elle était confuse.
Non.
Oui, rue vieille du Temple,
non,
elle
c'est-
voulait
c'est-
dire.
Comment
Ouais.
Elle voulait dire près de la rue vieille du Temple, probablement.
C'est ça.
C'est
Parce-
ça.
Alors, c'est là,
Vous y
on
allez.
est là, on a été.
Non mais c'est parce qu'après,
Oui.
il était sur les grands boulevards
Ah, c'est peut-être
et
ça.
rue du Faubourg Montmartre.
Non, moi, vous voyez, si elle lui dit rue du Temple, elle confond, elle ne se rappelle plus que c'est la rue vieille du Temple.
Oui, mais ça
et
dépend
c'est
à quelle
celui-ci.
époque. Hein.
Mais Pauline Trigère,
Oui.
ça fait 1920, comme ça, non?
C'est ça.
Oui, 30.
Voilà, c'est ça, c'était ça.
Et elle m'a dit qu'elle a été à l'école de rue Chaptal, après ça le lycée
40,
Jules Ferry,
27,
après le
86,
lycée Victor Hugo,
J'ai écouté.
qu'elle est née sur la rue de la Rochefoucauld, le 62, a vécu sur la
Elle
9.
voudrait revenir avec vous par ses mémoires.
J'ai l'impression,
hein?
c'est la
Oui.
première fois qu'elle m'a donné des trucs comme ça. Et qu'elle s'est mariée au 19 avenue... Non, elle habitait au 19 avenue de l'Opéra.
Ah ben,
Et il y a les synagogues. Vous vous rappelez les rues, les endroits des synagogues?
Oui.
Parce que je me rappelle qu'elle s'est mariée dans une synagogue qui était sur une rue qui était de Sainte quelque chose ou d'église de quelque chose.
c'est rue des Blancs-Manteaux.
Non.
Mais il y
Elle
avait
ne
pas de
vous a rien
synagogue, là,
dit.
rue
Elle
des
ne vous a
Blancs-Manteaux.
rien dit, le nom, quelque
Non,
chose.
alors
Non,
c'est ça,
quand je
je
lui
le
demande
sais.
des choses comme ça
Je vais
sur
vous
les
dire où
choses
c'est,
juives.
moi. C'est rue Notre-Dame de Nazareth.
Oui, 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 oui,
Peut-être,
c'est ça, c'est ça.
peut-être.
Ça existe toujours?
C'était ma paroisse là-bas.
Alors écrivez-le.
Bon,
Notre-Dame de Nazareth.
Notre-Dame de
Elle existe
Nazareth.
toujours à la République.
Elle a
La
changé,
République.
ils ont déménagé ça?
Non, elle est toujours à la République. Elle est dans la rue du Temple, la rue Notre-Dame de Nazareth. Et la choule s'appelle Notre-Dame de Nazareth.
That's funny, isn't it? Alors c'est tout près?
C'est tout près,
Non,
c'est
non,
la République.
parce qu'il y a rue du Faubourg du Temple, rue Vieille du Temple et la rue du Temple. La rue du Temple, c'est pas si loin que ça, quand
non,
même.
On
non.
vient de là, on vient du musée.
Oui, oui, voilà.
Vous avez
Alors,
vu le musée?
Temple.
Oui.
Eh ben, vous continuez rue du Temple vers la droite et vous arrivez à rue Notre-Dame de Nazareth.
Ok.
Le café, s'il te plaît.
Oui, un menu.
the shop. You have to go in.
It's beautiful.
Oh, Nachman. Look, come on.
What is this?
Greta.
What? Alors là,
Shop fronts of Paris. Wood.
Okay, that's enough of that.
This is the Place des Vosges. This is the King's Pavilion in the Place des Vosges.
is it actually a place, or does the guy just like?
What is this place, Esther?
Not the name.
Forget me not.
My brain is going. It's disintegrating.
Yours is going, mine is gone.
I think this is the place for restoration of antique sites. This is L'Hôtel de Sully. This is a sign I took last year, but I think it's still attractive. It's very few still open. Open at the door.
You don't really see them anymore. You see old ones that are converted, but you don't see them.
Portrait, charcuterie. This is a horse
It's a horse
butchery.
mixed, but they still have horse products.
St. Paul's Cathedral Church on the Avenue Saint-Antoine. Another shop front. This is entirely a olive shop. I'm not able to get the bottom of it. All natural wood.
No scratch for the middle because it's not difficult, it's running. Sugar on my paper. This speciality in the place. It's a great effect. Remove your hand in oven and the washing machine. I can help you. Your husband's crazy. Yeah, sure. Got the receipt. Doesn't stick, doesn't splash. Look, example for the caramel. Only sugar. Just sugar. Not stick. Oh my God, that herb. Small difficult, right? Just sugar. This for the caramel with the apple. Or triple with the caramel liquid. Only color was just got the lemon inside. And the chicken inside. For the vegetables, no water inside. It's all the potatoes. Normal cooking, everything. This, 330, 240. 400 francs, 280 francs. And 450, 225. This is the best. 350 with the lid with the cover. 395, 400. Okay. Look for the caramel, for the sugar. Yeah. Outside the caramel, up for the pancake inside. It's wonderful, it's the best. It's wonderful. Gas, electric, halogen, anything with a fire. Okay? Anything, look this is. Nothing. It's only in Germany, hein?
Why is that? Pourquoi c'est comme ça?
Look,
Comment ça se fait?
c'est de la pierre et de la fonte. La pierre volcanique mélangée de la fonte. Il n'y a pas de téflon, il n'y a pas de produits chimiques. Vous voyez madame? Et ça vous permet de cuisiner sans beurre et sans huile. Alléluia!
Ça va.
That's the Île de la Cité down there. That's the Hôtel de Ville. This is the Seine. I don't remember what bridge that is. And that's the Conciergerie. And that's Notre Dame we're walking to.
Now you know about the cathedral.
Tell us
The
about
lady,
the
the
cathedral.
lady on the left is the church, and the lady on the right is the. These are all the kings across the front. These are the kings of Israel. And David has a cross in his hand because he's the ancestor of Jesus.
Right. Oh, get that thing.
Which one is David?
Right in the middle there.
He's the one with
in the
the
middle
cross
with the
in
cross.
his hand.
See him? Under the statue there in the middle.
And what else can I tell you?
Ever move?
I know, he never moves. He'll, if you give him a crank, he'll do a little bit. Yeah, he's doing it.
One time, and then he moved,
Yeah, you saw it.
and he smiled at you.
Go up close to...
Yeah, Adam and Eve is way the hell up there. The revolutionaries thought they were the kings of France, and they...
This is synagoga, blindfolded with a broken staff.
That's right.
Go outside and watch. No,
You have to go see him if you don't want to.
get St. Patrick's. The other side. Go around the other way.
I will.
Got people crossing the street.
Why are those people there?
Nobody bothers them.
I don't know how they can stand it. Those cobblestones.
If you're going in by foot, which I do,
Yeah.
with the chef, you can eat
How far?
about 15-minute walk.
Okay.
Who's the person?
Vidal Nikkei. Okay.
Oh, really?
This is the view from Fred and Esther's apartment. Unbelievable. French traffic, people coming home from work. The bouquiniste. Wait a second.
You're coming in here?
No? Go ahead.
You can fit. Which one, E? Look, they just walk outside and they have so much food to eat. They can eat. They can go anywhere.
Another nice shop front. Le Chat qui pêche.
Merci, allez, bonne soirée, au revoir. Au revoir.
Ah, delicious.
Well, it's a little ways, but I'm taking you down some very plain streets.
This is Saint-Julien-le-Pauvre, I think it's called. Yeah. And their concert. There they go around the corner. We are in some place on the left bank, and we found, look what we found. We found just what we were looking for. We found a crepe restaurant. And it's so sweet. So we came in closer, checked the menu. We checked the menus. And the walls are covered with people's drawings on there. There's Rebecca with her usual cup of hot chocolate.
Great crepes. Come join us. Crepes Paris.
You kind of have to fill up the whole piece of paper, you know?
The usuals. And there's the young man who helped us, hiding behind, making the cups. There he is. Looks like he's looking at the menu. Maybe he'll look up at us. Becca is doing something interesting, quite different from her usual work.
Vendre 85 Saint-Michel. Alors, où est-ce qu'il est Saint-Michel? Saint-Michel. Notre-Dame. Voilà, c'est pas pareil. Juste.
This is on the what's it called? Consistoirie? Dans le boulevard des Palais. La conciergerie. Yeah, it's a different style. This is the sandwicherie. Right right next door to the house of Nadine and Paul. Look at this gorgeous gate. And it says here, priez de ne pas stationner, sortir de voiture. Sortie de voiture. I've never seen a car inside. And inside the gate is this tree or bush or something. It used to be a plant that my father gave his Aunt Rose, and it got planted here in the garden by Nadine, and it's now turned into a huge thing. Même tenu en laisse. No dogs allowed, even on leash. This is the park where, in front of Nadine and Paul's house, there's a recycling bin. Those are the studios of the artist Briard. And here's the entrance. Somebody's taken care of putting the suet up here for the birds. I guess they like the birds here. Here's a small park. Playground, mother, maybe. And here's this. Oh, it's the Berlioz. And a kiosk at the end, I suppose it's 50 cents, so maybe they'll have sandwiches or something sold. And here's Nadine's house. These second floor windows, this is where Rebecca stays. Is staying. These are the living room windows.
Ça c'est quelque chose.
Deux.
Wait.
1, 2, 3. Maybe you would tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the work you do, or what you do, because we will show this to people in America.
But I can give you quite a lot of catalogs of our foundation. So
Okay.
I give you one of every. We have all the story told.
Okay,
Yes. And
She's modest.
she's very modest.
And also, Peter is very much involved
Oh,
with
yeah.
our story. He needs this article of New York Times Magazine at the
Uh-huh.
time. I'm giving one copy too. So, you will see.
Don't press her, Ken.
Okay.
Ah, c'est gentil. J'arrête.
Caleb, he made a scenario for the film that became very famous, and he wasn't around it the first time. It was a description how Drancy operated. It was awful the first time. Well, of course, the Neo-Nazi Mania.
Oh, that's
we have
very
to-
good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll get a chair.
Right, you have, yeah. There also we have quite a lot. Perhaps the album, the 1941. I don't know, there perhaps, the speeches,
You're successful there,
Book dealer.
and you read those books.
Why don't you go look at the, you can see from in here, dresses, hanging. Go to the main thing here, take in, shoot in.
Here too.
Paris? What are you doing in Paris? Oh! Does your husband know you're here? Oh, this is wonderful. It's James Paget. I haven't seen her in many years. I knew her father very well. Oh, Jean Paget. Wonderful man. I must tell you about him one day. This is his daughter. I've heard so much about her. But I meet her in Paris. Well, what can I say?
That's enough. The wooden door is encased in the glass. With a Dufy in the window. Here we are on the street where I spent the summer, part of the summer when I was 16. And here we are at the Cis, and they're selling it. So we go in.
They're selling it for almost as much as the best ones.
There's no price.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did. So right here was the entrance. You see? Here?
Yeah.
Come on. And in there was the elevator. We can see the elevator from here. Oh, look at that. All gone. Let's see. Oh no, we're only getting my reflection. Now the important part is that over here was the back door.
Oh, we were 20%.
You see? Escalier de service. And so we go upstairs. There's the landing. And there's the window there. That was mine. And over here was the kitchen. This was off of the kitchen. That was the room where I had breakfast. That was their bedroom. And out again. This is Sephora. Perfume. Mega store. We're sitting on the sidewalk of the Champs-Élysées, and suddenly there's this glass box here. And people go in, and you watch. Watch what happens to them. And they go in, and down they go. They've gone to the parking lot down below. Just a gorgeous corner on the Champs-Élysées.
Oh, I saw Anna and the King. Like that.
Anna and the King, being John Malkovich. Here it's translated In the Skin of John Malkovich. The beach. Les rois du dessert. Here we are in Place des Ternes. It's a little rundown. But here's the entrance to the subway, Metropolitaine, and the flower market. That's an ostrich egg. No one knows what to do with it. And this is l'artiste. Oh, les pyjamas.
Les pyjamas.
Et le
les
papa
pyjamas.
assis là, à côté du café. Non,
Totally
voilà.
natural.
Oh, very natural. This is a very natural. This is very
I
convincing.
want to see how it's working.
Ça c'est Alexandra. Et voilà the runway model.
Right?
Samuel.
And the mama, wait, you have to see who's responsible.
Schmoulik.
Schmoulik, the Schmoulik.
Oh, voilà la maman, elle est grande. Ouh, ils sont
Très
tous.
grande.
And ask them where they go to school, get a little detail.
L'école, s'il vous plaît. Le nom de votre école, mademoiselle.
Collège lycée Carnot, boulevard Malzerbe.
Et vous, monsieur?
Exactement pareil.
Et dans quelle classe êtes-vous?
En 6e.
Which grade is that in English language?
6. Say it louder. 6!
Is it 6?
And what do you
This
like
is
to
the
do?
only time it's going to be like that.
That's
Et
what
vous,
you like
what
to do
grade
for-
are you in?
8th.
What do you like to do for fun?
Don't you want to ask what grade I'm in?
Wait a second, we'll get
I'm
to
in
you.
menopause.
What do you like
Okay, Marilyn,
My thermos.
could you tell us please what grade are you in?
I told you I'm in menopause.
Oh, okay, okay. Et papa?
Quelle est la question?
What grade are you in?
Moi, je retriple ma troisième.
Troisième âge. He's in the third age.
He's in pré-retraite.
He's in the third age.
In the third age.
Troisième âge.
Ah, maman, tu es...
And who's
Très
that
grande.
pretty little girl over there named Rebecca?
Oh, Rebecca. There,
Hi, Rebecca.
oh, there's
Did you have a
Ken.
good time
Say
tonight?
hello, Ken. Yeah, yeah.
Here's
Ask them
Okay.
what they like to do for fun.
I'm going to have to do it like this so we can get everybody in the
What do you
picture.
like to
Oh, there we go. Tell us where you're going to be next summer.
in CYJ, California.
In where?
How about CYJ Amherst,
New Hampshire.
and then followed by La Jolla,
Northampton.
California,
And
Northampton.
then
En
California,
français,
San
en
Diego.
français, en français.
I gotta stand up.
And where are you going to be on July 25th? 24th?
With you.
In South Deerfield,
Right, with us.
Massachusetts.
And they like to ride horses.
And they like to ride horses.
Everybody in the family?
Yeah,
Let them
we
go to
do.
sleep now. Okay.
Sam,
It doesn't film.
Rebecca.
Mango.